Alright, welcome to part number 2 of are you exercising and eating healthy but not seeing the results? Are you still unfortunately stuck with a skinny fat physique? Do you miss on muscle definition and you just can't get rid of the stubborn fat and it just doesn't seem to work even though you are exercising and you're making healthier choices? Now, I highly recommend you check out part 1 as well, where I break down the first few mistakes and the first things I see. Part 2, I want to dive even deeper into, okay, what do you actually do in this situation? What are you doing wrong and what should you be doing? Because having a skinny fat body, which when you take a shirt off on the beach, no one really can tell that you're exercising. No one's really asking you for advice, no one is like inspired, no one is really impressed, which sucks, right? I mean, I can relate to that when I first started my health and fitness journey and switched to a plant-based diet. I went from being super lean to being skinny fat and my confidence plummeted. My clothes weren't fitting the same as before. My belly was sticking out a bit. I didn't want to go to the beach or take my shirt off anywhere really. And while I don't believe that vanity and looking ripped is everything in life, obviously there's more important things in life than that. But for some reason, having a skinny fat body where you're not really overweight, but you're also not ripped, you're in this middle of the two, it's almost the most frustrating place to be in, because you're spending all this effort and all this time and it's still not working. So you're really stuck, and it's probably keeping you stuck in other areas of your life too. So maybe in your dating life, maybe in your career, because we're just mediocre. And I say we because I myself went through the same struggle, and you're in this mediocrity, stuck in this mediocrity, and the next step would be actually excellence, where you have more confidence, you have more energy, and you're reaching more things in your life in general. And it's not that hard. It's not that hard to transform a skinny fat body, and the good thing is you're already motivated, you're already putting in the work. Now it's just about making a few tweaks and losing the rest of the fat. Now I do want to say it is probably the hardest portion to transform yourself in, because it doesn't look like much, like you don't have that much weight to lose, right? You think. But it's probably 15 to 20 pounds that have to be lost to go from skinny fat to lean and fit. And that's the first misconception as well, that people think, hey, I don't have that much to lose, I just have a few more pounds to go, right? And unfortunately, that's not the case. That's the first fallacy people fall into. So maybe they are motivated and they say, okay, for the next 4 weeks, I will go all in. I will train 6 times a week, 7 times a week. I will cut out all the sugar, all the oils, all the processed foods, everything, right? And again, I can speak of experience. And then they fall off after 2 weeks because it's just too hard. They are over-exercising, their body can't recover. And the funny part is, it wouldn't have been enough anyway. Like, it's not 4 weeks, it takes probably more like 12 to 16 weeks to go from skinny fat to fit. It takes around, so I can say this because I've worked with over 1,500 people over the last few years, it takes around 17 weeks to lose 10% of body fat, right? I put a body fat picture on the screen for men and women, and take a moment watching this video and put in the comments maybe, where are you currently at with your body fat and where do you want to go, right? Are you at 30%? Are you at 35%? If you're skinny fat, probably are between 20-25%, depending if you're a man or woman. And that's the first step to take, right? If you want to transform this type of body, take account of where you're actually at and be okay with that, okay? Take a moment, realize, okay, I'm actually skinny fat and I have some work to do. It's not gonna be done in a week or two, right? Now, what do you do now, right? What do you do? Like, you're exercising, you're eating those healthy bowls and making those smoothies and drinking those juices, right? But what do you do now? How do you change your nutrition, your training? The first thing to realize is that after you have your body fat percentage that you're currently at and where you want to go, now you do need to start monitoring your weight, okay? So it doesn't matter if you're a man or woman, monitoring your weight is going to be crucial for you to actually determine your progress. You can't just eat healthier and exercise and hope you get ripped. It doesn't work like that. The reason why it looks like that on social media and Instagram is because most influencers they're either on steroids or, yeah, they're steroids most of the time. So they can just do whatever they like and still be ripped. So if you understand, injecting steroids basically means like your body functions on a whole different level. It's more efficient, it burns more fat, it builds more muscle in shorter time. So they can literally just go into the gym, do whatever movement, eat a healthy bowl after, and they're fine. But they don't say that. They don't share how every morning they inject themselves, right? wouldn't be that cool on Instagram, right? So that's something to understand. You can't just eat healthier and exercise and become ripped. It doesn't work like that. You need to have a plan in place to make a transformation, especially if you're skinny fat. If you're watching this and you have 30, 40 pounds to lose, life is a bit easier for you, because for you it really comes down to, hey, let's move a bit more and let's eat less crap, right? Now for you guys, you're already doing that, but you're still stuck. So here's what you do. You need to monitor your weight, and you need to do it every single day. So buy a body weight scale, and every morning, first thing you wake up is you go pee, and then you step on a scale. And you take your weight every single day for at least the next 3-4 months, right? Depending on how long it takes you. And that will allow you to keep yourself accountable. That will allow you to actually know, okay, where I'm actually at with my weight. And you'll be able to track the progress week to week. Okay, what you measure gets better. So if you want to go from skinny fat to lean, you need to lose weight. That's just the way it is. So if you're currently 160 pounds, you might need to drop to 145. Right? If you're currently 180 pounds, you might need to drop to 160. My story back in the days was, I was at around 220 pounds, which is really heavy, like it's 100 kilos. I'm a tall guy, but still I was very chubby. I was looking soft, I didn't have any muscle definition. And I went from 220 to 190. So it took me, I'm gonna put the picture on the screen, from skinny fat to really lean and ripped, 30 pounds, okay? So just as an example, what you can maybe expect for your journey. Again, I wanna be a negative Nancy here, but I wanna be realistic. So take into account where you are now, weigh yourself every single day, and you need to see a progressive move down. So you wanna go pound a week maybe, roughly what you want to lose, depends on your body weight as well. You don't want to go too fast, you don't want to go too slow. You need to do it in a way that's also sustainable, right? I mean, I will talk about that later, but a lot of people, they still have the approach of going really aggressive for a couple of weeks and then falling off track. It's not going to take you anywhere. And when you find an approach that has you lose a pound a week and you enjoy it, it fits into your lifestyle, then you'll be much, much more successful and it will be much, much easier. So, first thing I want to say, you probably have more weight to lose than you think. Track your weight every single day, and then you need to see movement going down. Now, you might be asking yourself, okay, but what about muscle mass? Like, don't I want to build muscle mass? You do. So ideally, you lose weight through your diet, and you gain muscle through your workouts. There's a common misconception, probably a lot of you are making, thinking that the more I exercise, the more I will burn fat. And yes, it will help. But most of the weight loss and fat loss comes from your nutrition choices. Because you're putting yourself in a calorie deficit by eating less food, and the muscle is built in the gym. So if you want to really go from skinny fat to fit and lean, you need to be in a calorie deficit, really improve your diet, lose weight through that, and be in the gym and progressively overload, get stronger, and do strength training. How you can do that, I will share in the next one. All right, so doing a quick outdoor workout today. Nothing crazy, just some pull-ups, push-ups. It's really hot. It's really hot. I get easily sunburn, so gotta make sure get the sunscreen. If you're ever looking for a workout you can do quickly, anywhere, try to find a spot where you can do pull-ups and push-ups. That way you're working your chest and your back. This is more for the men, by the way, because then you're working your chest, your back, biceps, and your triceps too. But yeah, just continue on the point. So when you're skinny fat, you want to lose fat and gain muscle at the same time, right? Now, is that even possible? Yes. Yes, it is. Why can I say that? Because I did it, and over 1,500 of my clients did as well. Put some pictures on the screen. And the magic really is, like I was alluding to before, you want to lose the fat through your diet, through your food choices, and gain the muscle through your exercise. All right? So if you're only focusing on diet, if you're only juice fasting, doing a raw diet, trying to do intermittent fasting, calorie deficit, that's all fine. But if you don't train properly, you can end up looking skinny. You can actually end up looking, you have no muscle at all, no toning, no muscle definition, and you look weak, and you are weak because you're not moving any weights, right? So if you want to lose fat and build muscle at the same time, again, get your diet on track. We're going to talk about that more in a second. What do you do about your training? Should you do cardio, CrossFit, or swimming, or functional training, CrossFit? I already said that. My recommendation is to resistance training, strength training, at least 3 to 4 times a week. And how you now build muscle while losing fat is you push for progressive overload. So every week you are trying to get better. You should be getting better in your workouts. Pushing more weights, doing more sets, doing more reps without fail every single week. So if I did 15 pull-ups just now, then next time I should do 16 at least, right? Just to put it simply. If I did 20 kilo curls, next time try to do 22, even though it's kind of a big jump, right? Now, where a lot of people go wrong with exercise is they go really intensely. So they want to make a change and they go to the gym and go really intensely, go all out, they do these crazy cardio sessions, crazy workout sessions. And the problem is that it doesn't matter how intense you train, it matters that you train better every week, okay? So we can put the 2 lifters and compare them. One lifter goes all out every workout session, and one lifter just aims to be better every session. Over time, this one will keep progressing. Maybe initially this one is faster, but then this one will injure themselves while this lifter keeps going, okay? So if you go really intense, the risk of injury is very high, the risk of burnout, the risk of your cortisol levels rising, so retaining water, looking soft, and that's not what you want, right? So yes, push yourself in your workouts, but don't go 100% all out every time, because then it's gonna crash and burn. So if you focus on progressive overload, what's gonna happen is your muscle needs to adapt. So your muscle fibers need stimulus, right? So if you stimulate it with growth, if you stimulate with strength training, it needs to grow, needs to adapt. And that's how muscle grows. So if you then combine it with the right diet, you will pack on muscle while you're leaning down. So basically, you are losing fat from the one side and gaining muscle from the other. And that's where toning happens in this area. That's where muscle tone and looking lean truly happens in the end. Okay? So it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, that's what you need to do. There's no other way. If you want to go from skinny fat to tone and lean, you gotta do those two things and really focus on resistance training, strength training, getting better every week without going 100% full out. Now, exercise is about strength training, but it's also about your daily movement. So how much are you actually moving yourself every single day? Do you work an office job? Probably, right? Or do you sit at a computer all day, which I personally do, for example, as well. And sometimes that's also the reason why you're skinny fat. It's probably one of the main reasons, because you're sitting all day. They like to say sitting is the new smoking, which is a bit aggressive, but the premise is real. Like when you sit all day, your body will adjust. Think about evolution. Why are we here as humans? Why do we survive? Why do we adapt, right? Now, if you constantly sit all day, your body will mobilize all its sources towards sitting, towards your belly, right? And that's where skinny fat physique is created, because you're sitting all day, not moving your body, and you might even train, like you said before. You might even go to these cycling classes. You might even do strength training a couple times a week. But if you're sitting your whole week, that's also probably the reason why you're stuck. So in a perfect world, you want to really transform yourself and do it quick, do it sustainably. You find a way to get your body moving every single day without fail. And the easiest way to do that is through walking, okay? Just walking, just taking steps, 1 feet in front of each other. Super easy, we all have learned it. You don't need equipment, you don't need permission, you don't need a membership. Only thing you need is a floor. So I always like to say, if you have a floor, you can exercise, right? But also if you have a floor, you can walk. So be mindful of your steps. Be mindful. That says mind your head. Sometimes it says mind your steps. That's what I mean, mind your step, right? Look at your phone right now, take it out. Look at your step count for the last day or week. How much are you actually walking? I can take it out right now, have a look. I haven't been the best here, I have to be really honest. But I'm still getting an average 7K steps per week. So 7K steps per day throughout the week. Not ideal, I want to get to 10. But if you can be between 7 to 10, you'd be in a very good spot. Most of you probably are between 2 to 4K steps a day. So if you can make a conscious effort to walk after your lunch, right? Walk in the morning. You're going to change your life. There's studies showing how walking will reduce your all-cause mortality by so much. The more steps you take, the longer you live. Please let that sink in. The more steps you make, the longer you will live. So if you currently are skinny fat, eating healthy, exercising, but not seeing results, make sure you get your diet right. We'll talk about that in a second. Strength training, but also don't forget to move your body. And aim for 10K steps a day, and your life will forever be changed. You will probably live longer and better than all your peers. So, now we want to talk about nutrition. All right, so back home now after the workout, and I want to finish the video with the nutrition piece, right? We talked a lot about exercise, about being active throughout the day, but how do you go about your nutrition? In part 1, I talked a lot about what actually matters, right? Calorie deficit, energy balance, protein, fats, and carbs, what foods to avoid, what foods to eat. Now, what I want to touch on now is a lot of people that are trying to go from skinny fat to a fit physique. They're main way of approaching food and dieting is the less I eat, the better. The less food I eat, the more I restrict myself, the better. Now, the problem with that is so many different problems, right? For men and for women. But if you put yourself in a big caloric deficit and just eating less and less food, a few things are going to happen. First thing, you're going to actually lose muscle mass, which in turn is going to make you look skinny, like we just explained, right? You're not going to have energy for your workouts, so no strength, no energy, no pump. Your muscles will look empty if you even have any muscles, right? And it's just a miserable experience. Calories are not the devil, and I'm really trying to kind of appeal to like a bigger picture here. And unfortunately, the diet culture, unfortunately, magazines, supplements, and all these big corporations have really created this diet culture of you need to eat less, you need to work out a lot, and that's the only way to get fit. And especially for women, it's created this fear of calories, this fear of eating. And my vision with my company and our program, our club, is to make calories great again, right? Make food great again. Food is so important for us. And while other coaches and people always talk about how to eat less, how to restrict yourself, how to cut out carbs, how to cut out certain foods, we want to focus on how can we add things to your life? How can we make your journey more enjoyable? How do we make it more sustainable? Because if you really zoom out the bigger picture, what truly matters is, like I said before, what you enjoy. Do you wake up every morning and do you look forward to your breakfast? Do you look forward to the food you're eating? Or are you eating a low carb diet and you're miserable? You cannot meet friends, you can't eat the foods you like, and it's just a miserable experience. And it doesn't have to be that way. In fact, it's really interesting because I do have to recognize that we are trying to maneuver an interesting space at the moment where on the one side there's a dieting culture with all these magazines and ads and supplements pushing for a restriction in calories and optimization, everything. You need to optimize everything in your life, biohacking, right? Which I'm a big fan of, but again, that's also too much. On the other side, there's the industry, like big food, which are testing. They're testing the food and looking how can we make it more tasty? How can we make it more palatable? How do we make the crunch in the chips better? How do we make it so sweet and salty at the same time so it really gets addicting? So it's a fight between big food and dieting culture. And we want to really show you guys, and my mission here is to step by step with long form, easy to digest videos that you can just understand certain principles and you can apply them. You can look at food for what it is. And if you look at food right now, you might be scared, you might be not sure how much you'd be eating. But after this series and after watching this YouTube channel, the goal should be that you look at food for what it is and as a fuel for your daily life. And going back to the point I was making, if you eat very low calories, restrict yourself a lot, you're not going to solve the skinny fat issue. You're actually going to burn yourself out. You're going to lose muscle mass. And for women, you're going to mess up your hormones. You might lose your period in the process. For men, you will lower your testosterone massively, which is crucial for your overall health. So instead, you want to pick a calorie framework that has you eat in a slight deficit, where you lose around 1 pound a week on average. And that you can do for the rest of your life. You can do for however long you need to get to the body fat level, and it's not restrictive and it's not overwhelming. Okay? So the low calorie movement, don't believe in it. Low carb movement, also don't believe in that. Low carb is one of the key kind of movements nowadays. Not key movements, but one of the big movements in the dieting culture. And the argument is that if you eat low carb, your body switches from burning carbs for energy to burning fat, right? Which makes sense in theory, but what's going to happen is that, yes, you might lose some weight initially. It's mostly going to be water weight because carbs 1 gram of carbs hold on to 3 grams of water. And after a while, your body's gonna really go into a mode of low energy, like keep it maintenance energy, keep us alive, because our body runs on carbs. Carbs are energy. So if you're working out, you need carbs. If you're thinking, our brain runs on glucose as well, which is carbs. So a lot of keto dieters, they report having brain fog, no energy in their workouts, and really struggle to make this a lifestyle. And if you cut out carbs for life, who's gonna have fun? Like, do you like having some potatoes, some rice, some pasta, some burgers? Well, there you go. No more bread for you, no more rice. Can you do that? Probably not. So keto diet is not the answer. Most other diets aren't the answer either. Juice diet, very restrictive. You're losing muscle doing that. Raw diet, there's no protein. You're missing out on nutrients, very restrictive as well. Gluten-free. Gluten has its ups and downs, right? We don't want to overconsume it, but it doesn't mean it's going to be the end-all be-all solution. Plant-based diet. Let's talk about that for a second. Maybe you are vegan watching this, or you are plant-based, and maybe you are currently struggling with seeing results, right? And it could be because the way you're approaching plant-based is keeping you skinny fat. I touched on this in the last video a bit more, but basically a lot of plant-based foods are quite low in protein and are quite high in fats and carbs. Now, the benefit of a plant-based diet is it's packed with nutrients, micronutrients, fiber, phytonutrients, and also nutrients we probably haven't even discovered yet. So everyone cutting out plant foods is going to have a rude awakening in a couple of years, especially carnivore people. I don't know if you have heard of the carnivore movement. People have been pushing it a lot. So many problems with it, right? One of the main issues is that if you cut out all plant foods, you're not feeding your gut flora, right? Your gut basically feeds on fiber. So if you cut out fiber, your gut cannot evolve and cannot be a healthy gut. And a healthy gut will help you lose weight, lose fat much faster. That's the one thing that's going to happen. Your gut is also very important for your immune system. Your gut is very important for your energy levels. And your gut also has a big connection to your brain. The brain-gut connection, you might have heard about that. So carnivore people that don't eat enough plant foods and fiber, they're going to have a wide array of problems later in life, right? Not just later in life, in a couple of years' time. So that's also not the solution. But for vegan diets, vegetarian diets, flexitarian diets, right? They're also kind of prone to make you skinny fat if you approach them the wrong way. I have a few key things I mentioned in the last video. Again, protein is crucial to look at. So if you can be vegan, if you want to be vegan, then make sure to eat tofu, tempeh, seitan, and protein powder for your main protein sources. Beans are not really a carb source, not really a protein source, they're more a carb source, which you can have on the side, but not as the main protein, right? So focus on these protein sources if you're vegan. If you are a vegetarian, you have a bit more options with eggs and dairy products. So you can have skyr yogurt, which is very high in protein. You can have eggs, obviously, and that's going to be making it a bit easier to get your protein. But the problem now, that's the point here, if you are a vegetarian, if you're trying to avoid looking skinny fat, you need to be mindful of your fat intake, because a vegetarian diet is very high in fat. Right? Eggs are very high in fat, milk can be very high in fat, and then all the plant foods, avocado, nuts, seeds, right? So just be really mindful of that. And unfortunately, I still see a lot of plant-based dieters being skinny fat because they don't pay attention to protein and they eat too much fat. Again, I'm the best example. I'll put it on the screen, right? We don't want to go too nitty-gritty. Those are great choices. Flexitarian is another one which you can do if you want to have a steak a week. If you want to have some fish, that's up to you. That's your choice. It can work. If you really want to maximize your health, you do want to eat mostly plant-based foods because of many reasons, like we talked about before. Gut health, anti-inflammatory, it makes weight loss easy. That's also why I personally promote it and why our clients also mainly follow a mostly plant-based diet. And it makes weight loss and fat loss easy if done the right way, okay? And I was alluding to this on the last video as well. Looking back again, what do we want to achieve as a collective, right? As a collective community, we want to be inclusive and we want to create a a food choice that is good for us, that is sustainable for us, and that maybe also helps the planet, that helps the animals, right? So what kind of impact do you want to leave in this life? Do you want to just focus on yourself and whatever you're doing, which is fair enough, right? But do you also want to expand your impact beyond yourself? And do you want to maybe save the climate, right? Make sure climate change stays intact and everything is fine. Also, again, needs a lot of water, needs a lot of resources to be produced. So if you lower your meat intake, you're gonna save a lot of resources as well, and while saving animals. So a lot of people, they criticize the vegan vegetarian diet because of their nutrient deficiencies, which are something I want to talk about in the next episode maybe, which are definitely something to be mentioned and to be paid attention to. But they don't really see the bigger picture, right? So what are we trying to do here? We're trying to optimize our own health, and we're trying to optimize, right? We're trying to zoom out, and we're trying to optimize this planet's health, if you want to look at that, right? What if you ate a diet that maximizes your own personal gain, like your own personal gain, right? And the gain of the planet, the gain of the animals. And again, there's also counter arguments you can make there, right? Is climate change real? Are animals actually suffering? Do they actually have a conscious way of feeling suffering? Are we made to eat animals? Those are topics for a different video maybe. But I just want to challenge you. And I think there's different levels of thinking in life, right? And again, I'm not a philosopher, I'm not some perfect guru, right? But if you want to evolve in life and elevate your levels of thinking to increase the impact, to increase your consciousness, and again, I'm not the woo-woo guy, I'm very science-based, but if you want to live life to the fullest, feel fulfilled every day, feel like you're making a difference, then why not explore that? Why not explore vegan or vegetarian? And if you are, kudos to you, that's amazing. And again, my vision here with our company and our club is to not be judgmental and to be inclusive. So if you can make vegan choices, that's amazing. If you can make vegetarian choices, that is really good. If you can reduce meat intake, that's incredible, right? So in the past, a lot of people have been focusing on only vegan, and you have to be vegan to make a difference, make an impact. I personally don't believe in that. I personally believe if we want to save the planet, save more animals, more people need to eat less animal products. That is the solution, right? And if you cannot go vegan, if it doesn't work for you, if it's really restrictive, it doesn't work for where you live, your culture, then you don't need to force it, right? I still remember I had some people message me, hey, I'm gluten and soy and nut allergic. How can I make vegan work? How do I get my protein? I was honest with them. I was like, you can work with protein powder, but it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be really hard. So then you gotta make the choice like, okay, personal health, how do I maximize that? And at the same time, how do I maximize my impact, right? But again, it's probably for a different episode on this channel. Putting it all together, part number 2, you're exercising and eating healthy, but not seeing results. Exercise and nutrition have to work hand in hand for you to see the results. You can lose fat and gain muscle at the same time. Do it in a way that is sustainable, that you enjoy doing, and think about increasing your impact, because if you increase your why, if you can increase your impact, you're going to feel more fulfilled, more motivated every day to show up, and it's going to become a lifestyle change for you. And isn't it amazing? Think about that every day you wake up, you've made a good deed, you've made an impact. I think that's pretty cool. But again, this video and part 1 should be a great start for you, should give you a lot of information on what you're doing wrong if you're stuck right now. And there's going to be at least one more part, so stay tuned for that. I'm going to go more nitty-gritty detail, but this video as it stands, you can take and you can apply and you can see results. I have hundreds, actually thousands of people message me over the last years telling me, hey, I applied your free content and I had incredible results. Obviously in our program, in our club, you can see even more results, but that's the different story. Thank you so much for watching and giving me your attention. and I hope this impacts your life positively. If you like it, actually, leave a comment below. Let me know in the comments and subscribe to the channel. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.